Alrighty. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 445, The Thing I Hate About Anime. Now, there's plenty of things to hate about an entire medium. There's plenty of things to enjoy. And usually, if you're a good purveyor of said medium, or even just a genre of a medium, you could pick apart the things that you don't like for several reasons. And that's totally cool. Everyone has their own opinion about movies or cartoons or certain production studios who make the thing you like. And it would be almost impossible not to, because nothing is perfect. And if you're an enjoyer of said things, you could pick those things apart. So here we have a person who also enjoys his anime, Critical, and he came out with this video just yesterday. So
it just occurred to me: is it even correct to call anime a genre, or is it more of a cultural style?
It is.
Well, there's the medium of, moving pictures, right? So we call those
very, very overarching. Well, when we outside of Japan talk anime, we mean specifically Japanese animation.
Yeah, that's the style or sub-style of cartoons. It's still a cartoon, but it's a style of 2D animation or 3D animation that involves the Japanese production.
When he says anime, he means specifically Japanese animation.
Sure.
Yeah. At least, for me, anime, the word itself only refers to Japanese animation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But is that a genre, or is that just a specific cultural style?
It depends.
Just like Nigerian Hollywood.
It really depends, because you're talking about categories, right? So the category is just a generic term for a group, and you could put a group within a group, and you can keep going and going and going. So when you're talking about cartoons, there's styles of cartoons. So anime is a style of a medium called cartoons. You can call that a medium. You can call it a subcategory. You can call it a subgenre. I doesn't really at that point. You know what you're talking about when you say claymation, or when you say stop motion, or when you say whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. So it's just because Japanese anime is so big, it's very specific. And if we had other things to compare it to, not on scale but on style, then we could say, oh yeah, this is just like American cartoons or Belgian cartoons or whatever. So it's its own thing, I would say.
May I make a guess on this video?
Okay.
Gay, potentially cross-dresser, and making LGBT arguments.
Ooh, interesting. I don't think so. Because anime...
I think he's only gonna have problems with girls that are drawn to childish, but still have some adult intercourses.
Oh, I was gonna think the tropes, the most annoying tropes, for example, everyone has to announce their attack, whatever it is. like swinging a sword is some sentence they have to utter before they do it.
That is relatable.
It's like, okay, why are you saying so many things to swing a weapon or do a skill or cast a spell or whatever? So.
I'm just going by him having I don't know what you call it in English, pigmented his eyebrows to be more prominent.
Did he?
And the dress in the background in the back.
Did he know?
On the right side.
I can't.
It looks like it. The eyebrows seem just way too thick.
I think he's just a very masculine fellow. He's got lots of testosterone pumping through his blood there.
I also have the same
Is that why
eyebrows.
his lips are so red?
You cannot shave this naturally. You just have to shave it off. What's between?
Yeah. Well, plenty of hairy gentlemen out there, so.
I don't know. A very androgynous face.
Really?
It's just confusing me.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
It's just it's. I don't know. It looks like a cross-dresser who leaves the beard on.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
Sorry, we've seen so many of these people now. It's like
no.
My pattern recognition is automatically looking for these kinds of things.
Yeah, I don't.
He's the third Bogdanov brother. He was just well hidden.
Okay. Well, I'll be. I always hope to be positively surprised and proven wrong. So
yeah, I don't think he's one of those characters. He's pretty outspoken against a few things. I think he's left-leaning, but I don't think he's...
I think like he's centrist. Like he doesn't really say too many political things. He mostly just does. He's pretty much the everyman, I would say, of YouTube.
Okay. Chat says he doesn't go for arguments like that, and he's a pretty chill guy. So
yes.
Space Jam can't unsee it now.
All right. Anyway, this is an 8.5-minute video. Won't take too long. He's pretty simple in his explanations. He's not trying to break the bank with watching. He's not even above 10 minutes, which is good. But he's so popular, it doesn't matter. Like he can make a video and make tens of thousands of dollars a day if he really wanted to. So anyway, let's go.
Video I've debated making for the last week or so. The first time in the 15 years I've been on YouTube, it's a video that I've actually been afraid to make because it's a dangerous topic. It's touchy. It's anime. And anime fans can get wild. They always say war is hell, but I think war is child's play compared to an argument with a weeb. I also recently learned about antimatter, and it's the only thing in the universe that releases 100% of its energy in like this devastating explosion. And that's also wrong because weebs do that too when they find out that you don't like their favorite waifu. The point I'm making is things can get very ugly when you criticize or talk about anime negatively. Expect an unholy, diabolical meltdown on Twitter attacking you for weeks for it. I still, to this day...
There is that it is not entirely wrong. The issue is that a lot of the arguments against anime that are brought up are crap. And I always love to have a discussion about the substantive arguments, of which a lot can be made. There's a lot of anime with writing issues. There's a lot of subgenres that rely on the very writing issues. I forgot the name of that one anime I saw. Like it had really cool potential, great world. It had set up with weird mechanics and good animation, good CGI for the what do you call this? This sci-fi jet thingies that the girls were piloting, doing some synchronous flying to enact sci-fi spells, but every time the show seemed to start, like yes, the action is coming in now that is going to be make a big impact on the plot. It's a cliffhanger, and the next episode starts, and it's just talking between the characters and nothing else. And it's like really, it's not even anticlimactic. It's just what happened to the action plot. And it did this 3 or 4 times. It was frustrating to watch.
Well, it depends on the genre, it depends on the artist and the writer, because usually when we talk about anime, it usually comes from a manga, unless it's something completely original and no one is aware of it. And when we talk about manga, it also usually comes from a light novel. So there's this stage of growth, of acceptance, of like, hey, is this good? Mm-hmm. It's good. Hey, let's make it into a comic book. And they just make it into a manga. And people like that. They just keep going and going and going until it gets so big that it's like, okay, can this be made into an animation? Can people watch this for a season or two on television, Sunday morning or, I don't know, Friday evening, depending on what network you're on? So there's a level of standard of quality that gets passed as we go up the chain, as more money gets thrown at a project, and people want to see that thing more. And that's a pretty awesome way to do things. It's a very safe way to do things, I think, because there's so much stories out there, so many manga and comics and light novels out there in Japan that it's like, okay, what is popular? And the production studios can choose what to turn into anime. And these are all adaptations as you go up the chain. So something is always...
That doesn't mean that the adaptation will be good.
Exactly.
It depends on does the studio know how to write well, how to pace well, and
right.
so on.
So what happens is a lot of these stories, they lose, not all of it, some of that magic that made it awesome in a light novel, and some of the magic that made it awesome, like the visuals in a manga, like the panels, the shots, the 2-page panels, the 2 spreads, like that gets lost sometimes in the translation as you go. But some things started off as anime, and it's amazing that you can just have that vision and run with it.
Yeah, and Joe Crazy, it was not Strike Witches, definitely not. And Space Junk said, I am not even sure what arguments against anime even means. It's like saying arguments against live actions.
Well, no.
What does it even mean? And I think this is just ill-phrased and should rather mean, or probably means, criticisms against anime.
Well, yeah, I think that's what he's getting at. Well, I was assuming it's going to be a trope, but I don't know yet. We have no idea. I haven't seen this. So I've seen people criticize tropes like the girl's boobs are too big or their eyes are too big or whatever. There's all kinds of visual things that are like, that's kind of weird. Or as I said, the trope that I didn't like was saying the name of a thing you do before you do it. The very one that's very common is the nosebleed. The blood rushes.
Where did that even originate?
I couldn't tell you.
The naming stuff.
It's kind of like,
or is that just a manga translation to the medium?
I would say it's
because in a manga it makes sense to put in the word of the punch or kick that's being used somewhere. That doesn't necessarily mean that the character announces it.
Well, there's several reasons why you do that. One, you want to tell the audience that he's going to do a thing that has some practice behind it. He's not just swinging a sword, he's enacting some skill he's been doing that uses some ability that comes out of something, magic or
but that's something that movies could do without. They could just train the skills and then employ them in the actual fights. You could just see it from watching the scene, from watching the action. So that's not a necessity.
No.
So I can only imagine that it's for not knowing better.
Well,
it's a translation from a manga page to the anime.
If you're that's
in which then the announcement is of what skill it is then put into the mouth of the character.
Yeah, it's from visual to audio. I totally get that. The other thing to consider is there's a long list of martial arts in the Asian culture. So they have a series, just in judo alone, for example, there's a series of maneuvers that have their own namesake that are take years and years to master and figure out. So they apply that same logic to like some fantasy sword style or martial art. It's the same idea, but now there's magic or there's ki or whatever special property to it, which requires discipline and training. And they have to spell that out to everyone as well to tell them, even though it's a secret, this thing, I got to tell you that, I'm doing the thing and then showing it.
To a degree, I'm fine with it when it's about fantasy magic.
Sure. Yeah. Because
like in Slayers, which is loosely based on Dungeons and Dragons, it is mainly the name of the spell is used as a finalization of the actual spell casting.
Right.
Like the moment the name of the spell is said is when the effect happens. And that is, aside from the big dragon slave that Lena casts, every spell is animated within the scene and not this extra repetitive, cheap reusable background.
Well, the same this is with the isekai genre, where we have the chantless magic hero who just knows how to cast spells by thinking it. And as opposed to everyone else in that time period or culture has this entire enchanting sentence to cast a fireball or something. Whereas the hero can do it instantly, and that's this high level ability that very few can do. So it's that sort of detail that they sort of, okay, yeah, this is kind of annoying. How can we work with that? Oh, we'll just have chantless magic, or we'll have chantless skills, or really, really high stats that you're born with or you evolved into because the goddess gave to you or whatever. So there's all these things that it's also like isekai is kind of like the playground of tropes to then water down and bend and break here and there to make the story more likable and more interesting, because there's so many of these stories out there. You gotta shave off those rough edges and just sand them down till it's like, all right, this makes more sense. This is more believable. This is more practical within the limits of the system and the setting. So there's lots of reasons that happens and why it's annoying to some people. I totally understand that. Okay, let's go.
Have not heard the end of how wrong I am for not liking JoJo's Part 3 and 4 as much as I liked Parts 1 and 2. And I mentioned that a single time in a video over a year ago. So let that shit sink in. For what it's worth, I just finished Part 5. That shit slapped. Part 5 was great. So let's get to what I want to talk about today. The main thing that I just dislike about anime. I'm sure all of you know by now, but I watch a lot of anime. You could probably guess that just by taking a single glance at me. If I walk by you in public, you would probably assume that I watched anime just by the way I look. I stared too long into the abyss of anime, and it stared back into me. I even bought a body pillow at one point, so, God bless.
I know the feeling, but I don't have a body pillow.
No matter how much anime I watch, there is one thing that always makes me uncomfortable with how common it is in the medium. And you probably already know what I'm going to bring up. It's anime's fixation on making all of the characters kids or very kid-like for no reason. Now, I'm not specifically talking about lollies. I'm sure you know what lollies are. If you don't, all power to you. Your innocence isn't...
It's also is already a question. Making characters into implies that, and this is probably just bad choice of words, implies that the characters were different characters before.
Yeah, this is this Shonen Jump argument, because it's like the demographic for Shonen Jump is young adults. So it's like, yeah, of course they're going to tell stories about young adults in the thing.
Yeah, you have teenagers and children.
Yeah.
Well, teenagers are also children, but they're not the preteen children.
It depends on how they gauge what a young adult is in Japan. Is it 15 to 18 or 12?
Not as much kinder.
Well, some fantasy heroes start at 8 or 9 or something.
Oh yeah, and the isekais I read, they start off at being born, so it's they're really young.
Yeah, but in the case of isekai, they are mentally older.
Yes, exactly. Which is that's another great example of isekai trying to subvert the expectation of a pattern that people get annoyed with. Oh, it's just this kid, he has to learn everything over again. Oh no, and he's born into royalty or whatever. No, they always play around with that idea. And it's fun. It's simple. It's easy. It's not hard to write a story just on a series of game mechanics or patterns in a story over genre and running with it. And it's just, what can you do with it? Any writer can play with those ideas and work it.
Oh, if you want to see a really good, well-animated, well-paced isekai for kids, young teenagers, check out Brave Story. I forgot which studio made it, but it's amazing. It's a smooth ride. It's just a fun watch.
I still recommend.
It's one movie.
Oh really? I still recommend last year's hit, which was the second season, I believe, of Jobless Reincarnation. I know weirdos were like, "Oh, he's an adult in a kid's body, and he's leering at girls." It's like, yeah, he's one. What's he gonna do? He's an infant. It makes no difference. So it's very well animated, lots of tragedy, lots of loss, standard isekai stuff, a kid with amazing super abilities, but not over the top, just really cool. And he goes on a journey. Everyone gets separated. All of a sudden, he has to go find them again. And that's pretty much the whole plot, is to get back all your family members. And, they redo entire openings and closings. It's fully animated sometimes. It's a collage of whatever they're doing with music. It's beautiful stuff. So
yeah. And Ken Kaneki in the chat is, I completely agree. He says, the reason Japanese media focuses on teens is because it's relatable to them on a social and cultural level. High school is the age the average Japanese has the most freedom.
Well, think about what you are as a teenager. You're growing into something. You're changing. The very nature of your physical life is becoming an adult. You're making life choices. you're threatened, you're in conflict. It's the perfect age to have a lot of cool things happen to you and bad things happen to you as well. So it's a fantastic setting, especially when you're going to another world or you're learning magic or you're fighting demons or God knows what. That's a great idea. Put some kids, get them excited, have them figure out their life and move forward. It's great stuff. Okay, here's a tip from John Candy. Is Uncle Buck break? Break?
Oh, God.
Charlie doesn't understand that he's seeing mostly kids in anime because he's watching shoujo and shonen. Yeah, exactly. You want adults in anime, seinen is literally right there. Yeah, this is kind of, we kind of picked up on that really quickly. It's like, is it kids that are like lolis? And he says, no, they're not lolis. So it's like, all right, fine. So what is it? It's like, all these popular shows are for young adults. It's like, yeah, it's called shonen. We know that. There's nothing wrong with that. Watch other things, not for shonen. There's tons of it out there.
Yeah. And that aside, most anime is made for a young audience.
Yep.
And that is not all animation is made for kids, but most is.
Right.
There are exceptions where you have adult anime that is
between Japanese and Western cultures as well.
Yeah. I mean, also the stuff for kids is more mature because they are not coddling their kids as much as the West, which is also why they grow up a little bit better, in my opinion. And but the actual mature anime that isn't hentai, there's less of it, but the stuff is usually pretty good. So you just have to look for it. There is enough of that to fill a year with.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. I still watch Bakano and Cowboy Bebop and all these other great shows like Monster that they're just timeless. You just keep like, wow, it's another drama. Mm-hmm. It's another tense moment. It's dealing with well into your 20s and 30s, if not older. So these people are sometimes hundreds of years old. So they're much more mature. But I think most of the dialogue in a lot of these stories, not necessarily the ones for kids. There's some goofy isekai out there. They're just for kids. But a lot of the stories out there are written by mature writers. They're not scared to talk about, nudes or sexual scenarios or murder or being scared. They throw it out there and they see how it goes. And that's what I like about the writing in anime and manga as well. They're not scared to tell stories, as opposed to Western stories or Western animation, which is like, oh, give me something to work with here, please. I don't care about whether He-Man is going to die.
I mean, for example, what would you consider Ancient Magus Bride to fall into his criticism?
I read it. No, he probably never saw it. No. That's a really interesting. I'd say slow-paced kind of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't really fall in his purview, I don't think. Beautiful artwork though. I really like the depiction of the goat skull head dude.
Mm-hmm.
All his crazy friends.
It was a surprise find for me.
Yeah, it was great. Okay.
But I'll go ahead and ruin Christmas for you. Lollies are an anime where they have a character that looks like a child, but is actually a 4,000-year-old dragon cum vampire who's highly sexualized, but...
That aside, what you call highly sexualized is a Lolita dress. Other than that, in most cases, it's just a variant of the child genius trope.
Plus,
which can be annoying. That I think that when did that get big? In the 90s? Was it already a big thing in the 80s?
It depends. You're talking about fashion being acceptable from...
No. It starts the baseline that he is, because he's talking about the hyper competent ones. Is the 6 to 9 year old that is usually a girl that is also a super genius that probably runs the tech on a spaceship or invented the super submarine. The girl in Full Metal Panic, for example, falls into that category.
But she's not a Lolita. She's not a gothic Lolita. She's just a girl who happens to be a captain.
Yeah, the gothic Lolita stuff is one version to, he puts it, sexualize them, because some people find that sexual, others just find it cute. And then you have the ones with the super tight plug suits or something.
Yeah, I think the Lolita stuff is more of a stylistic choice to show, okay, this person is unique. There's something quirky and weird about them, but they also either have money or they know someone into fashion to get this kind of design. Because sometimes you have these weird space opera stories where everyone's fashion is all over the place. Whether they're alien... Sorry?
I think in general you can put this kind of character to be into the category of quasi-mythical, impossible character, where everybody who watches it understands kids like this don't exist.
Right. I can't remember the exact title, because these titles are hard to remember for me, but it was a detective story, and it was about this girl in this library in a tower, and she's basically Sherlock. It's a mystery story, and the boy who finds her is kind of like the Watson to her Sherlock, and like she's dressed she's very formally, like she's super smart, of course, so that it kind of shows off that she's well-to-do and bored of life because she's so smart. So
yeah, but I do understand. To his credit, I do understand when people have issues with the visual depiction of such characters. Personally, I don't like him either. And the more of them there are around, the more I'm annoyed by them. But I'm just annoyed. I just think, oh, what? I've seen it too often. But that's mainly it.
I get annoyed with the what's the term for two different colored eyes? I mean,
Hypochromia.
Hypochromia, yeah, something like it's so annoying. Like it happens.
Heterochromia.
There has to be
heterochromia.
Yeah, unless there's an appropriate reason and explanation. I need that every time I see someone with two different colored eyes, I'm like, okay, what happened here?
Yeah, but it's the genetic magical anomaly thing. Look at me, I'm the most specialist character.
Yeah, I know.
That's all it is.
It just annoys me. It's one of those. It's one of those things. Visually,
a friend of mine wants to write a story, and the general thing of it is good. I disagree with him about his current ending or the waypoint of that. But he has one character in it that sounds a bit overdone, and also has heterochromia because he's into that. And like, dude, this because he described the character to me, and it's just, have you fallen into a fetish machine with that and thrown it in the blender, or what is that? Like,
it's just a visual thing.
Overall, not bad.
Unless there's exposition explaining it, it drives me nuts because you always see characters' faces and always see their eyes. And every time I see that, it's like, listen, what happened? Like, it's always on the screen. It drives me nuts. So
yeah, but Chat is right. Heterochromia is just a genetic thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, why do specific characters in anime have it? Because to show you, this is the special, mysterious character with superpowers.
Usually, I think
that always comes together. Okay,
let's keep going.
Looks like a child. They're called lollies. They're not actually children because in the show they're supposed to be much older, but they look like.
Oh no! We had this time when lollies were actual lollies. They were just 9-year-old girls, and in general, no, I think even overall, personally, I find the Lolita style of clothing abhorrent. But that's just my fashion sense. I just find it overly horrible and disgusting because I hate these dresses with a passion. And I don't care whether it's grown-ups wearing them or little children. It just looks horrible. maybe it looks worse on children. I don't know. But god.
You already had the definition wrong, because like loli is preferring, like as Wisp said, a young girl.
Yeah.
Usually flesh-chested as well.
Right.
And
they
this one, the dragon maid character isn't really a loli at all.
No.
Because it's just an adult in a childlike body.
The opposite I usually see, not usually, but in these students or teacher classroom scenarios, there's the adults, the 18 or 19-year-old, maybe even the 25-year-old, who look like they're younger than the actual kids in the classroom. That's kind of the joke. Yeah. So same idea, just the opposite scenario.
So visually, when you put them in these Lolita dresses, you can make the argument that it's a loli. In the case of Kana, that would then be true. In the case of teens, yes, they're usually flat-chested, because that is also to imply that kind of appeal to that kind of fetish that I do find questionable, but it's fictional characters. As long as nobody gets hurt, just roll with it. I don't care. Where it gets weird is when people make hentai of that. But stay in your corner. Don't push that into the public. Leave everyone alone. Fab to it if you must, as long as you don't touch actual children. It's all fine.
Oh, okay.
That's because that is mainly the argument why people are disgusted by these characters, because these associations are there.
Right. All right. Good enough.
Like kids. It's pretty weird. That shit's always going to be weird to me, but it's not even exactly what I'm focusing on here. I'm talking about in the shows where they just actually outright make them children. For example, Tokyo Revengers. It's a show I really like. It's a show I moist metered recently. The first season wrapped up. I gave it like a 90%. I thought the show was fantastic. But in the show, all of the characters are middle schoolers. And it does nothing for the plot because they're middle schoolers, but you never see their parents. Their schools don't have any effect on the plot at all. Sometimes they'll be in school, but they immediately leave, so it's not like integral to the plot at all. Most of the time, they just don't go, and that's not even a plot point, like, oh, I'm skipping school, I'm fucking dope and breaking rules, I'm a bad boy. It is literally them just middle schoolers, but they're basically just adults anyway. They have motorcycles that they ride around, they get in gang fights and shit like that. So the question becomes, why make them middle schoolers? Why keep driving home this idea that these characters are...
Wait a second, doesn't someone go back in time in Tokyo Revengers? Like
I don't know. I haven't seen this show.
I'm just trying to remember because I think I saw one episode. The guy's like 25 or something, and then he has to go back in time like 12 years to the past. So obviously he has to be younger. But even then, he's only like 14 or 15 or whatever. Like, that's fine. That's roughly teenage years. That's okay. That's typical for shonen anime.
Did Charlie just forget about delinquents?
Well, yeah, possibly. People have to either skip a grade or have to redo a grade. Yeah, it's normal. He's not... Is he talking about like 8-year-olds? Like, what is he talking about? These are all high schoolers. What is he on about? That's normal.
Oh, my mic was off. Despite him watching tons of anime, he seems to conflate the general loli with the magical loli. That's just confusing me a bit.
Yeah, no. Usually when they have the dress, there's something special about them.
Yeah, and they don't need to be the magical 9,000-year-old dragon demon succubus thing.
Right.
They can just be little girls too, which is a different version of weird.
So what's the age range of middle schoolers in America? I don't even know. What's the? Let me check that. Okay, it says ages 11 to elementary school is kindergarten through grade 5, ages 5 to 10. Middle school is grades 6 to 8, 11 to 13.
That's weird.
That doesn't sound right to me.
What is it? Is it 6 to 8 or 8 to 13?
Grades 6 to 8 are ages 11 to 13.
Oh, ages 11 to 13. Yeah, that is basically not even real puberty.
That's not even high school yet. And in Tokyo Revengers, they go back to age 14 or 15, which is high school, so he's wrong. All right. Maybe they're drawn to look even younger. That could be his argument. That's fine.
Yeah, and when he's talking high schoolers, that's done in puberty. That can be just starting, or they can be in the middle of it.
Right.
Which is just kids. It's still just kids.
Okay.
I don't know. It's weird.
Are 14 and 15. It just makes it really weird when they do adult shit, like one of the girls trying to fuck one of the guys, and she's in like her bra and panties about to have sex. It's weird because they've drilled into you that these are.
Okay, why are you watching ecchi and hentai about that age? Because that's probably made for that age group. Because you may not be aware of it, but girls and some guys are already sexually active at that age. Pretty much so. Pretty insanely so in some cases, because they're completely drowned. They're completely drowned in their hormones. They're not thinking anymore. And it's not the guys who can't keep their penis in their pants. It's girls who just become instant sluts. The nicest, sweetest girls, suddenly hormones. Bam! And they want to fuck every guy that's not on a tree in 3 seconds. We've had those in school.
I'm glad I went to Catholic school.
That's just segregated, right?
No. They're just repressed, but they go to the same.
Yeah, there was no midnight sneaking around into the boys' rooms or the boys into the girls.
There's no dormitories. No, it was just a public Catholic school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I didn't know Smud was a priest.
In Canada?
Wait, Smud was the priest?
Yeah.
He went to Catholic school.
Become
boy. I don't think they would.
Oh yeah, and at our school,
Rejoice.
At our school, it was also the girls spying on the boys in the locker rooms.
Really?
Not the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Because it was drilled into us. That's bad. You get punished for it. Apparently, the girls didn't get that drilled into them. They also didn't get punished for it.
And this is in your country where the average cup size is a double D, right?
You're exaggerating.
I'm exaggerating? Okay, a D.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's an F.
I was off.
Okay, you caught him. It wasn't 2 Ds, it was 1.
Yeah, but some are developing faster than others,
Right.
even at that age.
For
but
sure.
the thing is that that's just physical development. Horny, they're all.
Was that Yoda?
Was that like a Yoda quote? Like what was?
Horny, they all.
Yeah, but they're horny regardless of cup size.
Okay. This is true.
Yeah, and apparently them harassing the boys is fine because that's cute, that's funny, ha ha ha.
Ha ha. Yes.
Yeah,
Target of your.
Fuck you, teachers.
Yeah.
You and your one-sided sexism. That's not equality.
I had that in my school and I hated that.
All right. 3 minutes and a half. Let's go.
Middle schoolers around here, but they didn't need to be. These could have very easily just been adults. If you took a tally of every single protagonist across every anime ever made, I'd wager about 85% of all main characters in anime are 15 years old. That is the most common age of every character of every major anime, it feels like. But it never plays a role in anything, them being kids. You know, it's not like
who's the major audience for anime and manga?
This is,
I think I would have also be completely oversaturated by anime if I kept watching all of these 85%. I'm not watching all of that. Fuck off.
Yeah, shonen.
Most of that isn't even good.
Shonen
Like
sort
clearly,
of
like shonen
stuff.
stories like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. I don't know the recent ones.
Yeah,
But like those are like the top sellers, pretty much. Like you have like some character who was in their late 10s, or early 20s, and like that's your main character. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing he's talking about My Hero Academia, because those are, I guess, 13 years old.
That's
another teenager anime.
Yeah, and they're in their 4th season or whatever, so it's they're much older. Fifth, yeah. So
watch some Jinro.
Oh God.
Watch some Spriggan.
Imagine like those 15-year-olds like watching Go-Go 13.
Oh my God.
They're like, I want to be an assassin.
Yeah, let's start working out. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Like every episode, I have to make out with the moment.
I have to bang a prostitute, I have to fly a biplane, I have to shoot someone at 2 kilometers away.
Yeah. Watch some Lupin Sensei, Ghost in the Shell, even Ergo Proxy if you have to.
Yeah,
I know. But I would say most of the noteworthy anime in history is not in the 85% category that you mentioned.
I would say they're not the most popular for sure, but the most
I'm not
memorable.
Even talking popular. Yeah, I'm talking memorable and impactful. That things that 10 years later, lots of people will remember. Unlike most of the drivel that comes out. Like, we will all remember Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
We will all remember Samurai Champloo if we watched it. And like one over the other, maybe. There are some people who like Samurai Champloo over Cowboy Bebop, and this is a completely different setting and genre. That is understandable. If you have
just
watched,
wrong.
And if you have watched Mononoke, and I'm not talking the Ghibli movie, but the extremely artsy mysticism anime, that thing, you will remember that your entire life. That is something that stays with you. Also doesn't fall into his 85%.
Yeah, like the stuff like Mushishi is a good example of the weird sort of mystical.
I keep forgetting that I wanted to watch that.
Yeah, it came
out. Make a note.
The manga came out during '99, and we only heard about it 10 years later. So, what a crazy cool. It feels like you're watching Princess Mononoke, but a much more sophisticated, more intelligent one, and it's in a series. And it does have that level of mysticism and Japanese nuance to it. So cool stuff. Anyway, he's probably never watched that.
So much great stuff.
Yeah.
These shows like,
watch the Slayers movies.
I can't go to this gang fight because I have to go do my algebra homework. Otherwise, my parents are going to spank me, and Dad's going to bring out the belt and take away my PlayStation. The characters being children is always just so useless because they could have easily just been adults, and it wouldn't have taken away from anything. It's just weird. I don't really get it. And what really
what you don't
because
get,
if you have adults, then you have different expectations what an adult would do with their free time. When you have like kids that are still have to do obligations to high school, it's kind of like a thing that like they can like get over it. They don't have to like do things around themselves. But it's an adult that like you have like different expectations altogether.
Especially the setting for the example of Tokyo Revengers. I think the main character is part of a gang, and you wouldn't really have.
That's literally. I just looked up like the saying, and yes, you can't do it with adults. Yeah. A story like that.
It's also because most of those are coming of age stories. And hero's journey stories in the sense of kid into adult,
exactly.
kid that is maturing. That is the whole point of it. If you do that with an adult, then you usually need to start with a really pathetic adult that hasn't grown up yet. It's a different category. And for the kids, this is a great thing because the kids can be a bit pathetic because they are not mature yet. So they can be cowards and can overcome that. They can not have they can be failing at a skill, failing at a test. That's why you have these school themes all the time. You have a school theme in Naruto, for fuck's sake, the ninja anime, and overcome that. learn the technique, master the technique, and beat your opponent. It's great. Hikaru no Go. Has anyone seen that? Does anyone remember that?
No.
It's an anime with I don't know how many millions of episodes about playing Go. And it's good. It's just playing, it's mainly playing Go and philosophy. The main character is more or less haunted by the spirit of an ancient Japanese Go master.
Oh yeah, I think I saw a bit of that. Oh yeah, okay.
It's fun. It's surprisingly fun.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "Ah, this kid's nothing," and then he's just destroying people. He's like, "What?"
Yeah. So it's coming of age in various ways. It's not just the plain physical fighting stuff.
Yeah, and there's lots of
and
reasons.
If that's not for you, that's probably because you maybe you already went through that process and you have reached some sort of maturity.
I think,
so you're bought out by that.
I think we can all relate to the high schooler who's going through learning about themselves and choosing what to do with their lives. And when you throw them a series of conflicts that are unexpected, like being transported to another world or having an exchange student who's a magician or a vampire, it's like, whoa, that's crazy. What would that be like? It's a fantastical setting while still being mundane that people can go, oh yeah, I could see how that could work that way. Then the problem becomes, okay, it wouldn't work too far into that one direction where, the succubus best friend also is involved, and then there's the water sprite girlfriend. Like, there's all these other girls. They're all fall in love with what the hell's that dumb anime with the monster high school, and all the women are this or that version of some mythology. And the main chick is a vampire, and she has to seal herself away, and there's two versions of them. It's a silly romance thing. Anyway.
It reminds me of one of my obscure favorites that never got really finished, I think.
I think it's called Rosario No Vampire or something like that.
I've heard of that name. I never watched it.
But
what I did watch was Shamanic Princess. It only has 4 to 6 episodes. Give it a watch. It's weird, but well animated. The last 2 episodes are the pre-stories, so that after, so you don't understand anything, and then you get the actual pre-story, and then things make sense. It's like, why did you make it this way? But it's fun. I liked it.
All right. Anyway, halfway done. Let's go.
To make this video, or make me want to make this video over the last week or so, is I'm watching a currently airing anime called Platinum End, and it's dog shit. It is an actual pair of bull nuts. It's terrible. But I'm watching it because it's made by the creator of Death Note, so I at least gave it a chance. And I'm going to finish it just because I've already watched so much of it, but it's not good. But one thing that really was drove home this idea of what is the point of making the characters kids is there's a... spoilers coming up, I guess, but I don't think you should watch it, so I wouldn't really worry about spoilers. I'm doing you a favor, if anything. One of the main bad guys is a kid. He's a middle schooler, and he has the ability to control the minds, basically, of anyone he shoots with an arrow, and he uses the arrow on a middle school girl. And she gets shot with this love arrow, and what she does is she just starts fucking other middle school girls. And they show her, almost fully nude, making out with middle school girls, about to fuck them, finger blast them, go wild. It shows you that in the show. And it's super weird because they keep driving home this idea constantly that is a middle schooler. She is 13 or 14, whatever, years old. Even in the show, they call her the middle school serial killer because she's a middle schooler, and after she fucks the girls, she kills them. It's just super creepy because they are establishing that this is a child that we almost watch have sex with another child in the show. Now, of course, it's all cartoons. So I can't use the C word here when talking about anime. People get very upset. It is a 2D animation. I understand they're not real kids or anything, but that doesn't make it any less creepy. It could have just easily been avoided if these were adults because they could have been, again, in Platinum.
Okay, so if you guys don't know the story, it's about this guy who's sort of fed up with his life. He has no parents. He has abusive aunt and uncle. He's about to commit suicide, and then some angel saves him. And the angel tells him, I think, something like the world's or God's going to go away in like a few 100 days or whatever it was. And all these other crazy things start happening. So we're already in the realm of fantasy. So we don't have to worry about, how mature do we have to be? Because we're talking about gods and angels and this and that. So whether it's 25 or 15 is not going to make much of a difference.
I'm just looking at, so I haven't seen it, I'm just looking up the synopsis on AniDB, and I can't find anything of what he's referencing. Has he mixed up the anime? So
well, no, there's a manga. I read the first two or whatever. This is a while ago, but
okay.
I never got into it. But as soon as I read it, I was like, okay, so this angel chick saves this dude's life and tells him what's going to happen about.
Yeah, because there's no ecchi or hentai tags on it, but maybe the tags aren't filled up yet.
About that.
Because what he's saying sounds like an outright hentai.
There's lots of implied stuff in these stories, especially with mature stuff by Obata. So, or is it Oba? I can't remember his name. Obata? Otaba? I don't know. Can't remember the guy's name. But
Oba Tsugumi?
Sugumi. Yeah, Sugumi.
That's the author.
Yeah, the guy who did Death Note. So,
would ever come across to Charlie that maybe the villain is the villain? Why you freaking fuck out over the villain being evil?
Yeah, it's the same idea with Death Note. Like, he starts off as just this amazing guy, and then he becomes evil. It's like the same concept in this story. He's so tired of life.
A child with an easily abusable power. Abusing that power is almost logical.
Right.
That he doesn't like the scenes coming out of that, I can fully understand.
Right.
However, well, after sort of looking this up and listening to you, I have trouble if he's describing it accurately. But then again, I would need to check that now.
Kind of exaggerate sometimes.
Yeah, this is not the stuff you should exaggerate on. Because are you talking about implied scenes? Or are you talking because that can, probably not in this case, but in other cases, also be comedic? What's the age range of the targeted characters? Also important. I forgot that already what he said there. Like, is it the teens or is it the preteens? Because if it's hitting the preteens, yeah, that's weird. That's very weird.
I think it's the 15-year-old age range anyway.
So it's irrelevant.
And the story is mature. Like, it's not like for kids. It's a dark fantasy story. There's people.
So it's 18 plus.
Yeah, people are going to be representatives of God. Like, they're going to become the next god. So it's like, okay, they got to choose these folks, and they have, as he says, he has these magical arrow power where he can kill people. So it's like, okay, fine. That's the story you want. So
yeah. Thing is, first, Japan has a different view on this whole age thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Secondly, as long as the characters look mature, it's always difficult to put this arbitrary age range on it. We do that for specific reasons, because we have to choose some arbitrary point in development in order to say, this is where we trust you with running your own life and making your own decisions. But that is also, we also acknowledge, at least in sane Western countries, that teenagers are sexually active. And that's also why we have so-called Romeo and Juliet laws, where a couple that is like a couple months apart, one gets over the 18 age thing, has a birthday, then the other is still 17. That's when we say, when we squint an eye and say, you were already a couple. We're not going to bother you with the full force of the state, because you're already a couple, and this is just because now one is over the age of 18, you have to now wait 3 months until the other's also 18. That's dumb. And teenagers, they're thinking a lot about sex. So 15, 16-year-olds, you can show them this kind of thing if you also show them consequences about this stuff, because usually there's bad consequences here. And yeah, that's something the West mainly seems to refrain from, especially in the realms of violence. Anime is much more mature in handling violence in alleged children shows, which I find positive. Otherwise, you have cartoon violence. That is even in adult Western movies and series. It's still just cartoon violence.
Yeah, I just checked.
Where nothing's really happening. In anime, you can have an anime aimed at 6-year-olds, and the violence has consequences.
I just make the...
my favorite argument for that is Doremi. I'm done.
I just checked the age of the main character from Platinum End. He's 15. So...
Okay.
Which is expected. It's roughly the 14 to 16-year-old range, depending on whether they're first year or second year. So, pretty normal stuff. He doesn't like that. Okay, fine.
The school doesn't have any effect at all. The only thing the school has done is establish that the main character's been bullied. But he could have also just been an adult who had been bullied throughout his entire life in school.
Really? Okay, well, if that's the case, why would you wait? Wouldn't he have gone through therapy or gone over it by then? He's just...
Hopefully.
Yeah, just like... Why?
That would be a very lame story.
Yeah, it's been 10 years. I still feel like a shrimp. It's like, what?
Like, do you want to make a movie about Quentin?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Why?
Why not have the conflict right after and the resolution the day after? Why not just deal with it right then and there when it happens? It's like... Why waste our time?
Like, Rob
why not
at school?
And with that, why not show the teenager right away how he can overcome the crap? Instead of showing the teenager how crap he will still be in 10 years, which will just make him think, this is gonna be my life, I want to kill myself.
Yeah, because after 10 years, you probably have dealt with it in some capacity. You're like, all right, yeah, I'm a wimp, or I got over it, I don't care anymore, something like that.
Yeah, and yes, you're crazy. That is true. There is Western animation and movies that take violence seriously.
Right.
However, the ratios between West and East seem to be completely counterproportional. That's not the right word. What was the right word?
Counterproductive?
No, not proportional. It is like it's like the switched around.
Well,
the Japanese stuff is has way more stuff that takes things seriously or depicts them seriously, even in comedy, while there is actual cartoon violence comedy as well somewhere. While in the West, it is the other way around, where you have the stuff that takes it seriously being the minority of productions, and the majority is just cartoonish.
Well, I say if you want to focus on the conflict, even stories like Jobless Reincarnation deals with bullying. The thing is, it's so intense, he becomes scared to go outside, and he's basically a shut-in to the point where when he does eventually go outside, he gets hit by a car or something, and he dies and goes to the other world. So if you're going to do conflict like bullying or something that's relatable in school, it has to be intense enough that it's like, oh my God, that's horrible. And then you contemplate, would that actually happen to me? Would I actually have to like shut myself in because I was so traumatized by the style of bullying and how intense it was and how big it was? And that really shows up a lot actually throughout the anime as well as the manga, because his real personality is that guy who died when he was like 17 or 21 or whatever. And he's always like that. He always has that. And he's slowly growing out of it as he goes through his new life. But you don't hang around with trauma. Okay, you don't just like, it happened 50 years ago. It's like, no. It has to mean something. And in order for it to mean something, you have to have exposition, you have to have a flashback, you have to have all kinds of things on the page or on the screen to show that, and it's faster and easier just to do it in the actual real-time event in the present or the day before, as opposed to a year later, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's like, okay, what happened? There's more going on in this guy's life outside of being bullied once. So
I would suggest to our friend here that he'll get himself something nice and relaxing, whether that's something to drink, something to smoke, or just some hot chocolate, and a nice, warm, fuzzy blanket, and watch Haibane Renmei.
Oh, I guess
that'll calm him down.
I mean, there's
Wait, what anime?
Haibane Renmei.
The angel anime with all the.
It's chill. It's cute.
Yeah.
Very chill.
He should really watch Cromartie High School, because that's like the reverse. Like, they're supposedly 15 and 16-year-old high schoolers, but instead they look like 30 people in the 30s.
Oh, that shit.
Yeah,
that
it's amazing.
That is brain fuck. That's absolute brain fuck.
Yes.
You know what's
30.
amazing? I think it was one of the things in AMV Hell where there was where they cut a crossover AMV between Cromartie High School and Lucky Star.
Oh God.
Lucky Star.
Because they're all the same age.
Yes, they are. They are. Yeah. except one show is actually funny.
Yeah, no, it's a total parody. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but all right. Anyway, 6 minutes, going pretty well, almost done.
Can't all be us.
I don't think there's been a single scene in this entire show that has been at the school other than at the very front where he was hiding in the background. So them being in school is useless because it is never a part of the actual show. Them being 14 and 15. They could just be adults and it wouldn't be weird. You could have adult characters instead of kids doing these.
It's too weird, guys. This anime is too weird for me. It doesn't make sense.
Actually,
you can't relate
anything in Japanese culture that they are like so fucking addicted to the school thing, because it seems like they look at school differently than us.
Yeah, I can understand why you see the school theme to be annoying, because it repeats in every strata of society, it seems.
Well, that too, but
in a way
they look at it differently.
You know, the school council thing.
Yes,
the whole school council thing. It is the exact same thing as watching the government discuss what to do about Shin Godzilla.
What do we do with Shin Godzilla?
Yeah, we sit down at the table and then
pray.
Hey, and then talk. We talk with each other. We talk about the situation, and then someone has an idea, and we discuss the idea and dismiss it, and someone else has an idea, and then we go on, and then we talk more. And it's just anime is a lot of that. A lot of the school anime is basically this. The same thing as the government. Schools function like the government, and I think that's just brought to extremes in parodies, like, if you want to call it parody, like Kill la Kill, where all the heads of the clubs and the student council are all these super characters that control everything and everyone. It's government.
Yeah, there's plenty of isekais out there where the prestigious school is for the super elite, and they're already in control of like the city and farming and the nobles. They're like 14 or 15. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and the joke about that is the student council technically changes every year because students are moving out of the school and into the school.
Yeah.
So this is it makes no sense, but it's funny.
Just this generation, apparently.
Yeah. I'm kind of lost where I wanted to go with the what his complaint was, the last one. Oh, the school theme in general.
Right.
Yeah. I see why people can be annoyed by that. I'm a bit overfed by it at this point as well.
I'm more.
It's just
but
it keeps
that's just-
repeating in all the shows. Like it's so little variation between them.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly the military academy story where there's always some elitist, like you got to be super cool and cool and like deadly in some skill or whatever, and be good at grades and be good at athleticism.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And then we have to
That just reminds me that there was that brown table video that we covered on Discord. Apparently, he makes an anime. Right now, he made his own anime on Crunchyroll, and it has a military team school academy.
What?
I'm not calling
What?
that thing.
Brown Table got
Yes.
his own anime gig?
Yes,
I'm not calling that
No
thing
way.
anime. You can't
From
make
one of these
but it's
bullshit
like the
mob
Crunchyroll
studios?
anime. Like
yeah, Western cartoon crap.
yes, like
The
it's
mock
trying to mimic the
anime.
style, but it looks like DeviantArt animation.
Ouch.
Couldn't it at least be Newgrounds?
Well,
At least
that's
Newgrounds
fallen
is
from
funny.
grace as well.
I know.
Wow.
There will never be another Salad Fiend.
I mean, good for him, but oh god.
It's just like, do you want to like compress all the tropes of anime and make like a Western styled story around it? It's
if there was an anime set in the Wild West, there would somehow there would be a student council and a
JoJo Part
test
7.
in an
It doesn't have
auditorium.
school in it though.
There would be a big test in an auditorium that you have to cram for. And if it doesn't exist, we can make it happen.
You know, if he doesn't want to watch anime with kids in it, how about you watch something like Monster? I heard that's a good anime.
That'd be too boring for him.
I remember what I wanted to say.
He would be like, "Where's the school?"
Yeah.
I think what's going on is that he can't relate to teenage characters anymore because he is growing up. He's losing
think they all
touch.
grew up.
Yeah, but maybe he's taking a little more time mentally. I don't know, but he's losing touch with the young generation. He's getting old. Soon he will say, "Back in my day,
Yeah, I know.
everything was better."
Well, we always talk about the classics, right? I think the 2000s, or sorry, the 2010s. I think Violet Evergarden is probably the most memorable, outside of the Shonen Jump ones, because those are big and everyone knows them. So it was only for one season. It didn't last that long, and it's like it really hits you. It's like, okay, yeah, all right, this is something I'm gonna go back to a few years from
It's
now.
like Charlie becomes Principal Skinner meme of, "Am I out of touch?"
Oh.
No, it's the children who are wrong.
I just wanted to say that, look, dude, when you get older, your tastes get more refined, and you can't watch all the trash anymore. Same with metal, for example. You can't listen to the crap anymore that much. But now I'm reading in chat that Alex A said he gave Monster a C, and Legacy said this guy likes Loki, by the way. And now I have to retract my line of, hey, your tastes get older as your tastes get more refined as you age, because you're an exemption then.
Yeah, these people need to learn to eat cheese and wine and just enjoy life first, and then go, okay.
Maybe it's just drunk. That's
Cheese,
what
wine,
else?
whiskey, green tea, anything that makes your taste more, that trains your taste buds.
Start with the basics of pleasure, which is food and sleep and exercise and all those basic things.
Mm-hmm.
And then work your way up to media, and then say, hey, is media good? Let me think about it. And then you read other and watch other and play other.
Learn some martial arts.
Possibly,
Learn some martial arts, and don't learn it for tournament. Don't learn it to impress anyone. Just
I'm
learn
learning
it
it
to
for the
improve
tournament
yourself.
talk.
Oh, yeah. The tournament.
You know what? On second thought, maybe Monster's too good for him.
No, I think it's too slow. He'll get bored really quick.
Well, Chat said he gave it a C.
I can't believe that.
Why there's
Like I said,
a character
I guess
that looks like Wilfred Brim?
Too good for him.
You either love Monster like it's the masterpiece it is, or you just get bored and stop watching it.
Mark,
Yes.
You're watching something with bears right now. Can you tell us about that? Or where watching? I don't know. How far are you into
What,
it?
JoJo?
Baki, or what was that?
Oh, Baki?
Yeah.
Which one?
I actually watched like all the stuff that came out on Netflix, but I think like that thing does barely have any school in it. Like basically the character is 17, I recall, Bucky, and most of it is about like him trying to like beat up many adults as he can to be as strong as his father, because in that universe his father is like the strongest creature, not human, creature. He just goes on to bully like polar bears just for fun because he's bored. And like I think the latest thing that he did, it was like he punched a dinosaur-sized elephant because he was bored.
Well, the story with Baki, I watched a few episodes. I read a lot. His ability is to sense the genetic potential of any organism. So, which is weird. Which I don't even know what that means exactly. But he's a 17.
Trust me, nobody does.
Yeah, and everyone in that story is so pumped up. I'm like, muscular wise, their muscles are so defined. They would not need to go to any competitions for bodybuilding. They're already there. You know, they're already the peak of physical muscularity. There's like no fat on their bodies. They're just gigantic men that just beat the crap out of each other.
There's literally a guy with just muscle. I think like he says like he has 5% fat, but like it doesn't look like it at all. He just looks obese from far away, but like once he takes off his shirt, it's just like pure muscle.
Yeah,
and so muscular that someone unloads a shotgun at him, and he's like, "Well, that didn't really scratch me at all."
There's a character in the first season, I think, of the manga, who drinks wine and he chews the cork because he wants to exercise the muscles in his jaw.
Oh yeah.
It's what is this story about? Like, it's so weird.
How can you not enjoy that nonsense?
I know, it's crazy. If you want to watch a bunch of super muscular guys punch the shit out of each other, watch.
I say it's the good side of absurd humor.
Oh yeah, no, that's crazy.
It's kind of like you get the same enjoyment as JoJo. Like if you think like logically that like, can this thing happen? No. Like fuck that. Like it's just pure fun.
Oh god. No. I watched the latest, not the latest, but maybe it's like a year ago anime where they have these other weirder dudes. This guy has like
they keep introducing
weird. I'm talking like super weird guys. This guy had a lighter that had this fishing wire that was super sharp, and he was chopping off people's arms and shit. You're just like, what the fuck? This is too much. So they really go crazy. Like they get a serial murderer. They get all these guys to fight this kid, and holy hell.
The guy got punched in the gut because somebody figured out that he has like some equipment inside him, and like he vomited out a grenade.
It's just
he was hiding a grenade in his throat the entire time.
There was the Kyokushin karate guy who's so crazy about fighting. He's punching him with his arm got chopped off, so he's punching him with the stub. It's just like, what the
yes, because like finally my knuckles are not gonna hurt anymore.
It's insane. This manga is crazy. The anime is even crazier. So
like, the most craziest shit is that like they have some real life characters, but they can't name them as they are. But they have like Muhammad Ali, and then he just shows up and he's like, "Hey, let's fight." And like, what the fuck?
He just happens to show up. Oh boy!
I think like the latest one was Mike Tyson.
Oh, there's too many weird. Like they have this underground fighting pit.
Even Obama shows up in the manga.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's totally crazy.
Not as good as Gogo 13, but it's good.
No, the father is totally up crazy. Like that's first season's like, okay, that's too much, and then you watch the next season, you're like, oh, okay. Anyway, we're stopping talking about Baki. Guys, check it out if you like those crazy stories. Anyway, let's keep going.
Things, these sexual things, you know? And I'm not saying every single anime has to be like 40-year-old grizzled war veterans for characters or anything, but there's a lot of shows where them being kids is just a completely useless plot point, and because it doesn't actually play a role in the plot. Them being kids doesn't matter, like the two examples I just gave you. But then there are shows where...
No, you mean kids going on adventures, basically? That's not relevant?
Well,
Part 5 is literally
because that's the point.
Trying to take down the mob boss.
Well, yeah, you have...
Yeah, that's the point. Kids have an adventure.
It's usually the kid is scared of talking to the pretty girl, and they has to, or else something bad's going to happen, so he has to get the courage to do so you understand him now, and he goes up there. It doesn't seem weird. He has this whole reason to talk to her, but every time he tries, he trips, or he grabs her skirt, or they think he's a pervert. It's like, no, he really needs to talk to you, but everything around him is stopping. Like, there's all kinds of scenarios like that, and she's involved in the main plot. We just don't know how yet, and all these things keep happening. Same thing with Platinum End as well. So
I think he's mistaking is relevant for the plot with the plot is kids go on an adventure or are drawn into one.
Yeah, it's pretty classic.
It's about the kids. And he doesn't get that.
Yeah.
15-year-old takes down schizophrenic drug kingpin. Part 5 of JoJo.
Yeah. Well, JoJo's its own beast, so...
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter if they're 90 years old or 7. It'd still be JoJo.
I'd watch it if it was just Joestar in a wheelchair.
I mean, take Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. They're also not of age, the Eric brothers. But they go basically on an adventure.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're at that age. And the time period it reflects in our world, people of that age ended up in the army. That's not a problem. It's not very nice. That's kind of part of the whole situation. But
right.
Maybe then he would make an exception for that specific anime. I don't know.
There's lots of reasons to use kids. I just concerned with certain tropes surrounding the school and the setting. And obviously the traditional human elements of people, children, kids, young adults, boys and girls interacting. Like Japan has figured this all out. We've seen all the patterns, all the possibilities are there, and they're just trying to find more and more and more and make it interesting, and that's fine. So I don't really care about the setting so much. I care about, is it fun to read? Is it cool? Is there something interesting about the heroine and the hero? What they're trying to do. That's what I really care about. Not so much the setting and military schools and the hierarchies of, the whoever's on the student council is rich, prissy, and this and that. That's fine. I don't care. Just what's cool. What's fun about that? Is there anything worth talking about there? Okay.
It does with their kids. Something like Assassination Classroom, right? There are kids in class. They're at school. The majority of that show takes place in a school setting.
Yeah, but you could have adults in an Assassination Classroom. Aren't adults better at killing people than kids? Of course they are. And there's an alien teaching the class, so who cares? What difference does it? Like, I can make the same argument, so what do you do?
About that alien part. Yeah, he's not exactly alien.
Well, according to the show, they,
With Battle Royale, it's basically it is more gruesome because it's kids.
There's a bunch of really tragic stories because it's kids, yes. And what's the mech anime where they basically have robot wars with alternate universes and that determines who's going to survive? Oh, what the hell is that called? If you guys have ever seen that anime where these kids they're on this beach and this old man is in a cave and we're gonna play a game, and they put their hand up against this futuristic screen, which registers them to be part of this war where they get into this giant mecha and fight other giant mechas, but it's basically robot wars. And they transport these giant mechas to other alternate parallel Earths. And the winner of those fights can live to see another day, and the loser, just their entire universe is destroyed.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. Sorry?
Those kids sound like they won't get out without PTSD.
Yeah, no.
They don't get PTSD, they'll just be dead.
Whenever you pilot the machine, you die at the end. So everyone's slowly dying. It doesn't matter. Everyone's going to die. Boku Rano, I think. What the hell was it called? Oh.
Is the moral of the story don't talk to strangers?
Don't talk to strange old men near caves.
Yeah.
In caves.
Oh God. Was it called Boku Rano? I think it's Boku
That we
Rano.
shouldn't talk to strange old men near caves is another lesson we need to learn and make an anime about.
Every single, like there's, 15 kids or whatever, and every single episode one of them has to die. It's nuts. Anyway.
I'll watch the depressing stuff another time.
Yeah.
Not now.
Interesting characters though. I like how, they have to figure out who's to, how to fight the super awesome, because it's basically a round robin of robot wars, but
Yeah, but it's like Made in Abyss. I'll wait with watching whenever the next season comes, when I'm in a better mood, to ruin that good mood.
Yep, if you like crying.
Because when you watch it in a bad mood, you just want to kill yourself.
Well, maybe, but it makes you feel. It makes you feel sad. You go, oh, jeez, they went through all that just to save everyone else.
Oh, the pain.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, 1 minute left.
So obviously there's still a lot of shows where them being kids is actually important to the story and couldn't work with them being older. So I'm not saying everything in anime needs to be adults only. That's just called hentai, I suppose. I'm just saying there's a lot of shows where the characters are kids just because they wanted to make them children.
Okay, I continue questioning the validity of his statement that he's watched tons of anime.
Well, this is the problem, right? Because any writer can write anything well, whether it's kids or a student classroom for adults or elderly. It doesn't matter. So
it's like, Charlie, do you or do you not want there to be less children in anime? If the answer is no, then why even making the video then? You just wait.
I see nothing wrong with 15-year-olds, 19-year-olds. People are young and active and athletic and lots of hopes and dreams. You're at that time of your life where everything is going up and up and up. So why not? As opposed to 29 or 39 or 99. Like it makes sense to have men and women at their cusp. I don't see a problem with that. I really think he's talking about the patterns that he's tired of, that happen to be because a lot of these stories happen in high school or the high school age.
And watch different anime. Yeah. When you look for anime in one of these databases, you can just exclude tags. And then you get stuff that doesn't contain those tags. Just exclude school life, and all of that. And you don't get that. You get all the other anime that doesn't have that. Exclude ecchi, exclude hentai, and you don't get that either. If you want adult protagonists, there's probably a tag for that.
All kinds, yeah. All right. We're almost done.
It's probably the best documented genre, the best tagged genre that you can imagine.
For no reason, but they still want them to like fucking things, which makes it really uncomfortable to watch. Because they could have just made them adults. I've said that like 20 times.
Are you sexually repressed?
There are really just so many shows where I'll sit there and watch it and I'm like, damn, this is a good show. And then it's like, but why are they kids? What was the point? What did that add to this? I just don't really get it. And that's just
growing
my main
up.
thing I don't like about anime. It's not like I'm over here, slapping a Bible and saying we gotta ban anime because think of the kids or whatever. But it is weird. Like, it is just kind of embarrassing.
Anime is weird.
Yeah, I just wanted to toss this out there. It's not like I'm canceling my Crunchyroll subscription.
Oh God, you're giving those idiots money?
Destroying my anime Blu-rays or anything.
Yeah, just like my porn viewing, I like to watch anime free of charge. Which may or may not be the same thing.
Don't give money to scammers.
Okay.
Don't give it to scammers and traders.
You wanna give the actual studios money? Buy stuff from them, import it if you must. You're old enough to be able to afford that.
And download the subtitles from actual.
Get some fan subs. They care about good translations. Crunchyroll doesn't.
Pump it into VLC and you're good to go. Alrighty, let's go. Almost done.
Like that. So I'm going to keep watching anime. The fucking Jujutsu Kaisen movie is one of my most anticipated movies that I can even think of. I'm super hyped for that. I just wanted to at least put this out there just because I've been thinking about it since I've been watching that garbage Platinum End. And I mentioned it on stream once, so I figured might as well make a video talking about it. That's about it. So yeah.
Okay.
That was pathetic.
What the hell was that at the end?
I tell you,
I want more adults in anime.
well.
By the way, I'm gonna go watch this movie that has more teenage. Wait, Charlie, you just said you want more adult stuff. Why are you going back on your word?
All right, let's see if we have any stream memes. I think we have just a few. Alrighty.
Watching them.
Here we got. What is this from? What movie is this from? A bunch of guys on horses?
American Civil War movie.
Yeah, I know, but
982.
I don't know what it was. I can't quite figure out these actors.
What? Oh, I'm in the resource channel.
All right. Me waiting for Wisp to watch Musoku Tensei. Yeah, watch it. It's great. I love it. It has all kinds of drama. It's fantastic stuff.
Okay.
Brown Table's anime also got mocked for having a whole animated series in production somehow. If you haven't checked it out, I'd appreciate you giving Interstellar Ranger commence. Interstellar Ranger commence?
It's the most fucking generic.
That is a horrible title.
All right.
Come up with a better name. Come on.
Well, I'm impressed he made one. Good for him. But
why do people like that get gigs? It's horrible.
Oh. Good for him. Anyway, it could be shit. I have no idea. We'll find out. Alex.
Oh, the most untalented people.
His name is Alex Stepanov. All right.
Pisses me off.
Looks like a generic Gundam ripoff, but okay.
It's just like really weird art style because like you look behind him, like the grass doesn't look real. Like with the
that's a bad texture.
Yeah, it's like a texture map.
Looks like a Photoshop brush.
Yeah.
No,
it's gonna be High Guardian Spice all over again.
Oh no!
More garbage for me to drag into the grave.
Look at the second one. The whole posture is shit. Like whoever drew this doesn't know anatomy.
Look at the.
I thought it was a gorilla.
What the hell?
Oh, okay. Maybe they
look at the perspective and the anatomy. This is gonna be. Oh my god! This is gonna be High Guardian Spice again.
Look, you have the
45-degree railing at the window, but he is standing too far to the left and is just at 180 degrees towards the camera.
Yeah,
so he's just flat.
The camera.
This is going to be High Guardian Spice again.
No,
my problem is that I'm looking at the edge of the window and it's confusing me because it doesn't connect with the bottom of the window.
Oh no!
Yeah, the camera's on the floor, trying to be, I guess. And
what the fuck?
And is he like taller than the door itself?
Is the window? The elevator's tiny.
I don't know what angle he's standing at because the perspective of what he's leaning against is like way over there.
Was the perspective drawing done by Hitler?
What?
Yes.
Oh no.
If you look up like a Hitler painting, and you try to make sense of how the perspective works, because like on first glance it like looks kind of impressive, but like once you like try to think about it, like how the perspective works on those, and it's just mush.
All right, never mind. Enough of that.
God, is this bad?
Here's Mateus, modern Western shit. Escaflowne. Yeah, Escaflowne's pretty cool.
Yeah, do it.
Yes.
I even like the movie because it used the artist from Chrono Cross to design all the characters. I was like, oh, I really liked Chrono Cross at the time, but the movie's a bit different, obviously.
Didn't Chrono Cross have Toriyama as well, or was it only for Trigger?
I think it was only Trigger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Wisp, what's this? Tonagawa's demotivational speech from Kaiji.
It's great.
All right. Well, I'll watch it later. I don't want to get.
That is good philosophy.
All right.
That's how you grow up.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out later. Thanks, guys. That was Critical talking about a certain thing he doesn't like in anime. There's nothing wrong with disliking a pattern. I think that's pretty much he got tired of stories in a certain age range for a certain demographic with a certain setting, which you could argue is very common to any genre. But he should have been aware of that and said, well, there's other anime for other people in the same age range that don't involve high school or high schoolers. So I don't know why he's not aware of that. Strange take. Not the worst take, just strange, because he should know better. So anyway,
They immediately leave, so it's not.
thank you for the suggestion, guys. That was good. Well, one day late for Anime Day or Weeb Day. As always, keep the suggestions coming. If you have any new ones, or old ones, keep them posted because we might have missed from yesterday because we totally forgot about Weeb Day. So maybe they're still coming in the next round of voting. I don't know if we're going to use the old voting from yesterday, but up to you guys. So thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye.